Hello, my name is Phil Easter, historian and writer from Baltimore, Maryland, also known as the Amazing Memory Man. We're recording tonight on Monday, March 3rd, 2025. This is story number 69 on my YouTube channel, which is Phil Easter, the Amazing Memory Man. Tonight I'm going to tell the story of a brave Irish journalist named Veronica Guerin. First, I will just mention briefly about this date, March 3rd, in history and in the city of Baltimore where I live. It was exactly 100 years ago today, March 3rd, 1925, that Fort McHenry here in Baltimore was named a National Historical Park, a national park, 100 years ago today. And then also on March 3rd, 1931, that was the day that the Congress declared that the Star-Spangled Banner was officially our national anthem. Even though it was written way back in 1814 by Francis Scott Key, when Fort McHenry was attacked by British ships, and he was inspired to write the Star-Spangled Banner when he saw the flag flying early in the morning of September 14th, 1814, despite the long bombardment of almost 24 hours of rockets and cannonballs. 1814 he wrote that, and it did not become our national anthem officially for over 100 years, until 1931 on this day, March 3rd. I'd also like to just wish everyone a Happy New Year. This is the first story I've done this calendar year of 2025. And in 2 weeks, we have St. Patrick's Day. So we wish everyone a very happy St. Patrick's Day on March 17th this year, 2025. Veronica Guerin was born in Ireland on July 5th, 1958. She attended Trinity College, one of the finest colleges in Ireland, and in fact, Trinity was the first college in the whole world to admit women as students. As far back as the 18th century, the 1700s, it's the first college to ever admit women. And she went there and studied accounting, and then she became a newspaper reporter for some years, writing for several different newspapers, one called the Sunday Independent. And in the 1990s, she became interested in reporting about the organized crime gangs in Ireland. Many were drug-related, of course, and other types of crime that these gangs were doing. And she wrote a number of articles, but sadly, on the morning of June 26, 1996, as she came to a traffic stop, a man on a motorcycle wearing a helmet pulled up beside her, and he shot her and killed her. She was only 37 years old. She had a husband, Graham Turley, and a son. She and Graham were married back in 1985, and their son was born in 1989. And she was only 37 years old, left a husband and son. And it's very sad how this brave woman, just because she was investigating corruption and crime, that somebody decided to kill her. And as we all know, sometimes this happens. I guess you'd say she was a whistleblower. That's a term we sometimes have used here in America for people who are investigating some type of corruption among large outfits. And she was murdered. But the two men were arrested shortly after that. And the one was sentenced to life in prison, and the other spent several years in prison. His conviction for that somehow was overturned, but then he was sentenced to 12 more years in prison for being part of a prison riot. So there's two men convicted, and the one is spending life in prison for the murder of Veronica Guerin, the brave Irish journalist who took on investigating criminal gangs during the 1990s in Ireland. This is Phil Easter, the Amazing Memory Man. We will see you next time for story number 70, a very special story on another subject. Until then, Have a happy St. Patrick's Day this year, March 17th, 2025. Thank you and good night.